Now, being a native Chinese speaker who is still currently learning Japanese, I often get annoying comments like this. You're Chinese, of course Japanese is easy to you. You guys already know how to write the kanji. You Chinese people don't know what it's like to learn Japanese from the ground up, not knowing any kanji at all. You guys sure have it easy. Now, it's comments like that that really do piss me off because they assume us Chinese speakers have like an easy time learning Japanese. It's like, oh, the easiest language we're gonna ever learn in our lifetime or whatever. And we don't have to put in any effort to learn the language. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. Now I'm gonna divide the reasons into these 5 parts: grammar, vocabulary, kanji, reading, and writing. So let's get right into it. Why is grammar so hard for us Chinese speakers? Well, the most important reason is because Japanese grammar relies heavily on conjugation. Now, what is conjugation? According to Wikipedia, conjugation is the creation of the right forms of a verb from its principal parts by inflection. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, if you say, I eat cake, you would say, 私はケーキを食べます in Japanese. But in Chinese, we would say 我吃蛋糕. But what if you want to change it into a past tense? You would say 私はケーキを食べました. The change that took place here is the verb eat, which is 食べます in this case, you change it from 食べます to 食べました. The ました part actually indicates that it is in the past. But in Chinese, we would say it 我吃了蛋糕. Now, the only difference in this sentence is that we inserted the word 了 right after the word 吃, which means 吃了. 吃了 means ate. Now, as you can see, the verb in itself actually doesn't change. We just add in other words to like somehow make it a different meaning. In essence, that is the reason why Japanese is really hard. In Chinese, we put a lot of emphasis on adding words, compounding words, and that's why Chinese grammar is like so easy, because we don't have any conjugations, we don't change any rules. We literally, if you want to make a different meaning, we just put words in front of that word, or you know, we could put a new word right after that other word, which is why grammar is one of the most difficult parts for a Chinese speaker to learn in Japanese. I hope my explanation was clear enough. Now the second part is listening. I don't think I need to explain this one that in depth, because listening, you know, us Chinese people don't have an advantage over anyone else. In Chinese, we have 4 tones. For example, for the sound ma, ma, we have ma, 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 ma. We got 4 tones. But in Japanese, they only have, you know, those 50 alphabets, the hiragana and katakana. Now, Japanese does have an accent system. If you change the way you stress the parts, it does change the meaning. For example, for the word hashi, you can say it hashi, or you can say hashi. The first one, hashi, is the meaning for bridge, whereas the second one, hashi, is the meaning for chopsticks. That's about the most, you know, difficult part about Japanese pronunciation, I guess, but it's really nothing compared to like tonal languages like Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, stuff like that, right? Which leads me to the third one, which is speaking. Now, speaking is a complicated one because it varies from person to person. The characters that I find most difficult to pronounce is the ra, ri, ru, re, ro. I still can't do that for some reason. Now, I do have to emphasize that for whatever reason, most of the Chinese people I've met, you know, the ones that come from China, they kind of have like a pretty bad pronunciation when it comes to Japanese. I don't know why. For example, if I say I eat cake, again, same thing. I would say 私はケーキを食べます. But most Chinese people, I think they would say something like 私はケーキを食べます or something like that. And I think the most difficult part when it comes to pronouncing Japanese for Chinese people is that some of the times they, you know, mix up the Chinese reading and the Japanese reading. For example, the one that I hear the most often is the Japanese word for food or cooking is ryori. It's the same kanji in Chinese, but it's pronounced differently. It's called 料理. And then the thing I find most interesting is that most Chinese people will pronounce it the Chinese way, 料理. They would say 私は料理を作ります, which means I make food, instead of 私は料理を作ります, when it comes to speaking, it's really not that hard. You know, the accent and stuff, if you really want to change your accent, it's not that hard. You can practice that in a really short period of time. So yeah, I'm not gonna go too in depth in that case because again, we don't have an advantage when it comes to speaking. So I'm gonna just move past this quickly. Now the fourth one is vocabulary. Now this one, I think it's, you know, same thing as, you know, speaking and listening. I don't really think we have that much of an edge when it comes to, you know, learning Japanese vocabulary. If you're like learning compound Japanese words with like kanji stuck together, I mean, yeah, in that case it is easier for us to understand. But you know, Japanese isn't just about kanji. You got words that don't have kanji, you know, words that only have kanji, and then after that it's connected with like hiragana and katakana. And in those cases, it's really not that easy for us either, because it's not like we're born with like Japanese knowledge or anything. For example, words like telephones, keitai denwa. I mean, yeah, it's kind of similar to Chinese. In the Chinese version, we would call it 手提电话. You can see like there's some similarities between the two words, but I mean, it's not that similar, right? Now the fifth one, which is the most, you know, the biggest part about all this entire topic, which is kanji. Yes, fucking kanji. We finally talk about kanji. Yes, we Chinese people, we grow up learning kanji. Chinese is made completely of kanji. But the thing you might not know about kanji is that it has two ways of pronouncing it. They have kunyomi and onyomi. Kunyomi is the reading of the word in like its original Japanese pronunciation, whereas onyomi is its derived pronunciation from Chinese words. For example, the word impossible in Japanese we would call it muri, and in Chinese we would call it wuli. As you can see, like the Japanese one has way more strokes for the first word compared to our Chinese ones. Chinese has two types of writings: simplified and traditional. I learned simplified. The people who learn traditional are, you know, people from Taiwan or Hong Kong, people like that. And as you can see, they're completely different. But I can still understand it because I don't know for what reason. Us simplified Chinese readers, even though we can't write traditional Chinese characters, we can still understand them for some reason. I don't know why. But the thing is, we can't write it, but we can still identify it, which means learning Japanese, it does make it easy for us to like, to be like, oh yeah, I know that word. It's the same as this word in Chinese. But I mean, that's about all it, to be honest. Now the thing about Japanese kanji is that they have their own versions of kanji. For example, for the word air, in traditional Chinese we'll write it like this. But in simplified Chinese, we'd write it like this. But in Japanese, you write it like this. So as you can see, there's like a huge difference. I mean, not that huge, but there is still a difference when it comes to the way you write kanji in, you know, Japanese. And the last part about kanji is that Japanese actually has like a lot of kanji that they made up themselves. For example, the word for to work is this kanji. And this kanji we don't have in either, you know, traditional or simplified Chinese. And not only that, a lot of times Japanese compound words have vastly different meanings to what they mean in, you know, Chinese. For example, the word kega, which is injury, is written like this. The same word, you know, still has a meaning in Chinese, but it means a completely different meaning. It means blame me, to blame someone, to blame me for something that went wrong. I mean, just look at the difference. It's the same word, but it has different meanings. So again, how does any of this make it easy for us Chinese speakers to learn Japanese? I don't get it. If anything, it's actually hard for us because we already have this knowledge in Chinese. And the more we try to like use this knowledge to learn Japanese, the more confused we get because we would, you know, mix them up. So stop saying that us Chinese learners don't need to put in any effort when it comes to learning Japanese. That really just fucking pisses me off, because what it tells me is that you're not working hard enough to learn Japanese. If you're blaming other people, or you're saying that other people have it easier than you do when it comes to learning a new language, it means you really don't think the way they do, because you just assume it's easy for them to learn, you know, Japanese, when in reality you don't even speak Chinese and you make these bold claims that it's easy for us Chinese speakers to learn Japanese. It really does fucking piss me off, and I would really hope people stop doing that. I mean, when it comes to learning a language or anything in life, really, you really do have to like put in the hard work to achieve the results that you want. I would say someone who doesn't know Chinese but studies Japanese very intensively or is very proactive and speaks to a lot of Japanese people, will have it way easier and learns Japanese way quicker than some random Chinese dude who doesn't even care about learning Japanese. He just does it haphazardly. That's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you now have a new viewpoint when it comes to, you know, us Chinese people learning Japanese. You know, just stop judging other people, stop thinking other people have it more easy than you, and just learn Japanese. Japanese is a fucking great language. I love it. We're all in it to learn Japanese. We're all learning a language. If you have any problems, you can always help each other out, and so that it's easier for you to learn Japanese. Keep it positive, continue learning Japanese, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.